record everything for evidence.
That's right.
If the blinking light goes off, just let me know.
Okay.
I'm leaving the run pod with you guys, so if the spirit touches it, it'll go off like that.
Ooh, okay. The colorful ones behind the bar?
Yes, all the balls are.
They're up here behind the bar. Perfect. Oh, perfect.
All of them. Yeah.
So if you can you touch one, Matthew, do you see one? So people can see what it does. See the lights go on that when he's touching it? So when we're not touching it and you start seeing things like that happen, you'll know that there's some interference around that area. And do you want to put the
Blizzard the bear, so this is like an EMF detector. Or, I'm sorry, a REM pod. So this is a REM pod. If a spirit touches it, it's going to change color. And so this is the same thing, except it's a trigger object for children. So, because it's a bear. So this is Mr. Blizzard. So his stomach will start blinking and flashing. And he goes off.
While we're telling stories, if you see any lights flashing, just quietly point to the light that's flashing so no one can see it.
We'll just put him in the presence.
Who wants this light?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you guys can stand up here. Everyone who lives here has some sort of story.
On the stool?
Yep, just come and see.
I'm gonna put these over here. Just let me know if these start flashing.
So one of my experiences was I was over by the dish landing and I was holding silverware and I had heard like little pattering feet behind me, and so I turned around and I had saw like a little white dress and it looked like a little girl was running by, and so it looked like she ran into the theater. So I peeked in the theater, but there wasn't anybody there, and I had asked other people around and they said that they hadn't seen anything. So that was a really weird thing that I've seen. I've only been here for like a couple months, but like that, I don't even like being here at night. Like it's kind of creepy, but that was one of my experiences.
One of our old bartenders had the same experience and thought she was playing hide and go seek. Actually played with the ghost, thinking it was my daughter. I had a 4-year-old at the time. I was 8 now, but she was running up and down the street going, Billy, Billy, and we're between the chairs, and she didn't see her. She just heard giggling and saw a little flash of a white dress. And she came out and said, Billy's not here. And I said, she's at school. Like, no, she's not here today. So she was actually thought she was playing a game with that little girl. So that's a common one.
Hey guys, my name is Chase. I'm one of the assistant managers here. I'm fairly new myself, and coming in, you hear a lot of stories, and I don't even know if I really believe in any of it. But as I progress, I'm usually the closer at night. So we shut off the lights, close down the restaurant, send everybody home, etc. Most times it happens, probably about 10 times now, where it's a busy Friday or a busy Saturday night, and we're jam-packed, and I'll walk by the service bar, or everyone's doing their thing, guests are having fun, our staff is doing their thing, and I hear my name, and it's very vivid, very clear. It's usually a woman. I can recognize some of the voices that are in that video. That's the first time I've ever seen that video, so I was like, oh. And then also there's a gentleman that speaks, and it's my name right in the back of my head. Every time I look around, no one is looking at me. No one is paying any attention to me. And so that's happened quite a few times. And those times when it happens, I'm a little shook, But and the other thing I've noticed that has happened is when I'm leaving at the end of the evening, and this really kind of is like, I always kind of like now to myself is like, I leave here in peace. Like I want everything to be like, I'm gonna go home, leave things here, because at some point when those nights happen, you do get a little like, whoa, there's something going on. You feel it, you know what I mean? So, but yeah.
What do we have there, Cynthia?
Well, someone must have touched it.
And the REM pod on the bear, if it's touched the bear?
The bear is not blinking at all. No. That was the wrong
So,
side.
my story is I usually am a closer as well, so it's me and another coworker, and I was closing one night, and we usually have to take everything off the tables and off the bar to make sure it's ready for the next people that come in and open it up. And so I did that, but I was actually the opener the next day, and I come in, and there's like a stack of change right over here, a couple of coins, and I thought nothing of it. I thought I left it there accidentally, so I grabbed it, left, started my day. And then it kept happening, just like over and over again for like the next couple of nights. And kind of freaked me out. I kept asking around, like, was it you guys? Did you guys leave it? And they're like, no. And every single time it was the amount 214.
within the first week of us opening, we put the bar stools up and have there be clean counters, and we come in the morning and there's the same amount of pile of change. That's where we asked on the EVP about, are you the one who leaves the coins, or are you leaving the money? I don't know where that came from. We had an EVP that responded once, it's a tip. So that was the
So my experience was I was opening one morning. We usually keep the theater doors propped open at night, but for some reason they were closed, so I just went to go open them up, and that door right on the right just would not budge. There's no lock or anything to it, it's just a swing door, and I was putting all my weight against it. Couldn't get it open. I came to grab the bartender because I was scared. And she was basically trying to get that door open while I went in through the other door with my flashlight, and the second we turned the lights on, the door opened. She will.
Okay, so one night after closing, I was out here rolling silverware. I was facing the back towards the kitchen. I kind of noticed like something run from or like move from the kitchen to the theater, which the doors are fairly close. But it like the only thing I could catch was like white shoes. Now all of us here working at the end of the night, we're black non-slip shoes, black socks, so there's no way it could be anyone. I still went in there and checked. I didn't see anything, and it was pitch black in the theater. So.
Hell no.
This is the Matthew that won't stop. But it did, just admit it, did say your name.
Okay,
It
so-
was not a story format, but just admit, you
So,
heard your name.
what happened was, I purposely try to shut myself down from all of it because I've had experiences, other places, other things. So coming here, I try to shut myself off. I had never had an experience, never heard anybody call my name. Everybody says they have somebody call their name. I'm very aware to just kind of, at the end of the night, I shut the lights off and I beeline out. I have a pattern of the way that I shut the lights off, so I never have to walk through the dark. Or I'll force somebody to do it for me. But when we did the last ghost hunt 2 weeks ago, these guys were all standing here. All of them except, with the exception of Lena. Savannah was standing right there. And I walked by to sit in that seat, and I swore Savannah said, "Hey, Matt." And I turned around and I asked her, what do you need? And she was, at the time, she was like this, cowering in the corner. She's scared to death. She swears up and down that it wasn't her who said my name, but, and Savannah backed her up, the other Savannah backed her up and said it wasn't her. I still don't believe it. But I did hear somebody say my name finally last week. But I haven't heard anything tonight, and I hope I never hear anything again.
Anybody else have stories the same?
Well, during my orientation, you mentioned how you like to shut yourself off from the ghosts,
Yes.
in orientations in the theater room, and you were like coughing from that moment on.
I was.
Until you left the room. And then
So it does happen too, where we have an orientation, and it's a lengthy orientation. Did I do it during the orientation?
Where you were coughing?
Yeah. Okay, so.
It was mine.
No, it's all of them. So
Yeah.
whenever I do orientation, it's only because we have to go up. If you've ever seen a movie here, we have to do like a pre-show speech to tell you how to use the theater lights and how you order. Anytime I go in there to do that, even when we had the meeting, we had a staff meeting in there, never a problem. But whenever I do orientation, and first part of the orientation is talking about how this place is haunted, and I always make a joke about it. If you believe it, it's haunted. If you don't believe it, it's just a gust of wind, you can ignore it. But I can't ever get through the orientation without like my throat getting dry and coughing.
You got a hit over there. Well, hello.
And it only happens during orientation, and it actually happens probably like right after that part. Through the rest of the day, through the rest of that orientation, it's about 2 hours long. I have to drink and I cough. It really is annoying. It didn't just hit me until just now that happens. Thanks, Elaine.
I have more stories than I can share, but I'm going to give you my top two because they're the ones that are most explicable to me. There's a million. So many people have seen the lights on in the bathroom and feet shuffling underneath it, and then there's actually no one in there. Or like you wait for the bathroom, and there's no one. There's just shadows. So there's. Sorry,
There you go.
There are the number of times that we've had doors lock, or hear voices, or see a wisp of someone walking by, or like I said, it is almost daily. But there are two that have stuck with me because I can't explain them. The first I call the doppelganger. There was a girl named Lauren who opened this place with me. She was my first assistant manager and kind of my partner in crime management the first day.